What's up, streamers? Today I got a special guest with me today. Former military, firefighter, current detective, and pastor, Mr. Raleigh Harris.
Right.
Lee, right?
Right.
Okay. So without any further ado, I got to ask you, first off, how did you get a lifelong, I guess, career of servicing people? Because technically all these are like service.
Well, I think for myself, and thanks for letting me.
Not a problem.
Right here, but I think all of us have like a desire to do something, a thirst, if you will, and my thirst is being a servant. That's it. That's the best I am. The rest of it's just like icing on the cake for me. I didn't know it, especially being so young. I tell my children, tell my boys, and I tell the kids that I get an opportunity to serve and to deal with, to take some time out to find out, because I kind of searched before I ended up where I was at.
Okay, so like I said, you were in the military, firefighter, current pastor and detective. Was it different stages that you had to go through? Like, this is, I like it, but this isn't really my field, or was it just a natural progression that you found yourself in?
Well, I always think about it as I'm like that person that's on a boat without a sail. You know what I mean? Just kind of riding the waves at first.
Seeing where it takes you.
Yeah, you get to a point, I think, that you wake up and you look up and you say, look, I can do that. That person's not as smart as, but it's about applying yourself,
Mm-hmm.
So I just think, and I know that God just had a hand in my life.
Okay.
Because of some conversations I've had with my father in the ministry, not so much my dad, but my father in the ministry. And when people told me not to do certain things, and it seemed like I got to a point where I started listening to that advice.
Okay.
So,
we've had a couple other conversations. So there's a couple that stick out to me from the ones that we've had already. And I guess somewhere in between your military service and your firefighter, I guess the way you became a firefighter, there's a great story there, and then what that actually led you to.
Right.
Very interesting.
Right. Believe it or not, and this is something you don't know, when I was in the military, and this conversation was happening between me and my wife. My wife saw service in me, and I knew that I was supposed to do something serving someone, okay? But the conversation was like this: police or firefighter at the time that you're talking about, because I was still in the military. So I brought it to my wife, and my wife said, listen, I don't want you to be a police officer, because you're going to be jumping out, you're going to get yourself hurt and get yourself killed. We're young, we're still young in our marriage. So I go to my father in the ministry, and he tells me, you don't want to tell God that you don't want to preach, do you? So in essence, he was saying, make sure you keep that way open, because one day you may be a pastor. Now, some 17 years later, I get ordained and I'm a pastor.
Okay.
So looking back at it, I was preaching way before I was a firefighter, way before I won't say way before, but at least 2 years before I became a firefighter. But I wasn't paying attention. Remember I told you I was just kind of sailing on that boat. Wherever someone takes me, that was the wind that was in my proverbial sails, if you will. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, right. So, but I always knew that I wanted to work in some type of service.
That's awesome. Which, I mean, it speaks a lot about, I guess, your all-round character. So does that come natural, or is it something that you really had to build up or work with, or just bred into you, or?
No, ministry saved my life, man. I would have probably been, you know how, well, in the church, we say that if God hadn't stepped in, I don't know where I would be at. No, I know where I would be at. I would be in a bad spot. Ministry and watching out for people literally saved my life. I'm a regular dude, At the school I used to be at, I was a school resource officer. Now I'm back into detective work. But they had me speak and everything. And I told them I'm a regular guy, And so is everybody else. Some people think that they're not, but I'm a regular guy. I have issues that I'm dealing with. I deal with temptations. I deal with all those things. But service keeps me, you know what I mean? It kind of keeps me, because teaching, you have to kind of drink some of the water, if you will, before you pass it out.
Yeah.
In order for it to be legitimate. If not, it's like me saying, drink a bottle of water. My face is like this, and I said, "Oh, well, come on, taste some." Yeah. He's like, "I don't want none of that," So,
smell this.
right, yeah, smell this. Eat this. This is great. And I had that look on my face. You're not going to eat it. So, what I'm saying is that ministry and serving has helped me out a whole bunch.
That's awesome.
I don't really say that I'm such a good guy. I'm working on it, if you will.
Well, I believe that we're all working on it. We can all be better.
Right.
And typically, I have found that the best rounded people are the people that realize that they're still working on themselves.
Oh, true.
And it boils down to accountability and a lot of things like that. Like accountability to me is really big, but if you don't have that, then you kind of get lost, or you think you're already put together and you have no idea of what's really going on.
Especially as men.
Yeah,
we need to be accountable. We need to hold each other accountable. I think that's when you show that you got a real friend. When you can tell that person anything. Mm-hmm. And I found myself, and I know I'm jumping from pillar to post here, but I found myself, I got a good friend like that, that I can call up and tell him anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you need that person.
Well, yeah, friends are important. Family is probably more important than one friend. So anyways, I want to get some stories from you. Okay. So you were a firefighter, and you told me the story of, or alluded to the story, how you became a firefighter.
Right.
And there was actually a little bit of potential adversity right there.
Right.
And then you end up becoming a firefighter and making it to 9/11. Can you walk me through all that?
So here we go. Even now, I don't like to see people hurting. Young people and elderly people, for sure, like most people. Mm. I have an uncle that was the first black firefighter in Richmond, okay? And I got a chance to, it's like that, seeing certain things when you're young. So I had a chance to go to the firehouse and see him working. I was just in awe. Like, this is what I want to do, But I didn't realize it, to be honest with you. I think what I was called to do is be a pastor. That's what I love doing. Okay. But anyway, so I'm going back and forth. I leave out the military, and I left out the wrong way. You know what I mean? I allowed them to get underneath my skin, to be honest with you. I didn't realize that you're going to have jerks everywhere. I didn't realize that. Yeah. So I left out of the military in a rush. Just boom. I didn't leave out with a dishonorable discharge. I left out in good standings, but I left out. I had a little small job. I told you about the helping out with the life insurance physicals. So the day that actually changed my life, and now actually the store I went into is not there anymore. It was a 7-Eleven. I went to go get a Slurpee. And I met a guy that would become my lieutenant. But what ended up happening, like I told you before, I tell young people all the time, is you got to be careful about, you got to be able to decipher past a person's personality, mm-hmm. and keep yourself in check, because you don't know if that situation can bless you down the road. Long and the short of it, so I went inside, I talked to them about whether or not they were volunteer or professional firefighters, if you will. One guy was a jerk. He was a jerk. He was an a-hole. He was a jerk, okay? The other guy was a real good guy. To today, we're friends. And he talked to me about it. He told me about it. I ended up going down to Washington, D.C., got the job, ended up going to 9/11 with the gentleman.
Okay, so let me rewind a little bit.
Okay.
With I think when we spoke about it, there was a portion where you actually had to make a decision one way or another, which obviously you made the decision to go to DC.
Oh, okay. I think what you're talking about is I had an appointment to go to.
Yeah, there was something like
right. No, I had appointments lined up, because at the time I think my wife, she might have just got out of the military. So we wasn't stable at all. I was the little $11,000 a year I was making at the time. Mm-hmm. So I looked at it. I said, "So I'm going for it." You know what I mean? And I took that decision to go down to go up to DC at the time.
Without knowing the outcome.
Oh no, I didn't know that at all. Didn't know, and looking back at it now, it was kind of gutsy. I wouldn't consider myself gutsy at the time. I was just trying to get something that I desire. That's something about me too. If I desire to do something, I'll move a lot of things to do it. But yeah, that's what happened.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you do got to go off on that limb and take that chance. I tell a lot of people that you got to look for signs,
Right.
of things, and take opportunities. And they're not always going to be glaring neon signs saying, "Hey, come in this door and you're gonna get a new job and be rich," or
Right.
anything like that.
Right.
You got to pick up on the opportunities.
True.
You know, where you could have looked at it as an obstacle, like, I can't make it. I got these deadlines. I would like to do that, but I can't do it. And then kept yourself from it.
True.
But instead, you seen that there was an opportunity. You met these guys at 7-Eleven for a Slurpee. You know, it's like,
Right.
like you said, God hands you this path, and it's like, do you recognize? Do you pick up on it and
Right.
and follow through?
Right.
I think that's very important. So, I always tell people to look out for that type of stuff.
Right.
You know, and obviously you put your best foot forward,
Oh,
or
yeah.
they wouldn't have actually spoke to you, right?
Oh, truly. There's one talk show host, I won't use his name so much, but he says sometimes you gotta jump.
Mm-hmm.
You may not know, you gotta jump, you gotta go for it. And if you don't do that, then are you truly living?
True.
Or are you back on that boat like I told you before?
Just let the current
And
take
people
you.
are blowing the wind into your proverbial sails. And sometimes you gotta jump. And I found out even where I'm at now as a pastor, sometimes the people closest to you, they love you, but they can't see what you see.
Yeah.
If God's giving you a vision, they're going to support you, but they can't see. I call it, you got to rock your own baby. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If there's something that's in your heart that you need to go for, you got to go for it. Even if it means you're going to fail. But, what's living life? Never getting a chance to fail and always succeeding, if you will. You know what I mean? The water's always smooth. Or are you living life sometimes when you jump? And you get that
gotta feel
feeling. You got to jump, man.
Yeah,
you got to jump.
The motion of the rocky water.
You got to
you
jump.
know?
You got to jump.
And I would hate to have to live with not knowing, like, if I would have went.
Worst feeling in the world.
Because then I think that's almost like it becomes an avalanche of just doubt that can creep into life. And I mean, I've been guilty of that. I haven't jumped every time.
I think it's human nature.
Yeah.
It's human nature. We're taught that way. My mom, who's very influential in my life, the whole mentality is you work 20 years on a job, you retire, and then you do whatever. But are those the most people? Are those the most popular people? Are those the most influential people? Most of the time, not.
True.
Don't get me wrong. I thank God for those people because I stand on the shoulders of those folks. But sometimes you better jump, to live. So yeah.
Okay, so and you made it to 9/11.
Oh, yeah.
Through that.
Right.
That's just interesting in itself, because it's probably in our modern short-term history the biggest event that anyone has dealt with. The Vietnam War and World War II. People are only the older people have lived through that now.
Right.
Where in our day and age, 9/11 was the big thing.
Right. Oh yeah.
Right. I wasn't around for JFK or any of that.
I know what you're saying. Right.
So give me some insight on that.
I think the two things that stand out the most is when we got there. And I've never been on a movie set before. I don't know if we talked about this, but I've never been on a movie set before. But we walk up and it seems like a movie set. It's just, the destruction is crazy. And I was there when they turned into a crime scene. So everyone that took pictures, they confiscated your pictures and everything. But the thing that stood out to me the most was I never saw devastation like that before. And it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be blood and gore. I don't know if we had this conversation.
Nah.
So now, I'm a young firefighter, man. Because remember, I wasn't a firefighter but about a year and a half, 2 years. So I get this opportunity, and I'm in there with this old fire dog, and you can tell he's been there for a long time. And we're walking, he turns and looks at me and said, "You're going to see devastation like you've never seen in your life." And I'm like, uh-oh. Now, we're at the Pentagon now. So we're kind of crawling through, and we get in the middle, and there's quiet. You see people working, but nobody's talking. And so the type of person I am, I'm like, where are the bodies at that you know that they told me about? Because now I'm taking what I saw on TV. Where are the bodies at? Where are the body parts? Where's the blood? And he leans and says, because it's almost like it's like a sanctuary, if you will. Mm-hmm. He said, look at the little flags. They were body parts. So there were noses. There were feet that are still in socks. There were shoulders that would singe inside of shirts and stuff like that. That was the thing. And it was not scary. It was not real to me. You know what I mean? And I don't know if blessed is the word, but I counted it an opportunity to be there to serve in that way, you know. Mm-hmm. No one had a chance to see that stuff, you know what I mean? But I was able to be a part of that. I was there when they put the flag down. We were saluting the flag. I think President Bush, the second Bush, came driving through. I saw him when he came through. We were saluting him. But I was part of the RIP team, the team that, firefighters got caught when they was trying to, do the recovery, get the dead bodies out. It was our job to come get them. So that was the biggest portion for me, just to go see all that, just body parts.
And then this was at the Pentagon.
This was at the Pentagon.
Outside of D.C.
Right in the middle of the Pentagon, yes.
I have so many questions. I'm not going to go to like conspiracy waters.
I've heard a lot of them. Right?
There was no wings and this and that. I mean, I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of questions around both areas that I'm like, some of it doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
I don't really think. I would hope that our government wouldn't just start blowing crap up or allow it.
I'm hoping not.
Yeah, but there's some things that suggest maybe otherwise, right?
Well, I'll tell you this. Being in police work and being in emergency service, someone asked a question, because a lot of firefighters and a lot of police officers, after they finish their tour of duty, let's say 20 years, that's the tour of duty, okay? Mm-hmm. And most of the time they say tour of duty just for that night, but I mean tour of duty like they retired. They kill themselves. Or whatever the case may be. They've had a lot and they say it's because of what you see. So I promised myself, my wife, and God that I wouldn't go try to see more than I have to. I've seen dead bodies. I've seen men hanging. I've seen men that blown their brains out. That's because I had to go see it. So now, if you want a conspiracy theory, here it is. When I got to the Pentagon, like I told you, I was a young guy, 20, 26, 28 years old. I was a young guy. And so they said, well, come on, let's go see. They say that there's a stewardess dead in the back. She's in the back of the plane. She has her arms tied up. But of course I didn't go because I didn't want to see it. So now I got you now. So it's something that, now who knows, we're talking about firefighters, they're good guys, so it could have been back there. I just didn't go see it.
Yeah.
I remember them saying about it. I remember them saying that, and of course she's probably not whole like we are here. She's probably all torn up and everything, thinking about it now. But they said definitely is a stewardess, and she was tied up and she was in the back. But I don't know. I didn't see it.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah,
I definitely didn't want to go down a conspiracy.
Right. So I don't know. You know what I mean? So
but
who knows?
There was one thing you said. So I guess President Bush came through.
Right.
Y'all guys were saluting.
Right.
Laid the flag down.
Right.
And obviously, with all your tours, really, I mean, you've done such extensive work. Like I said, your lifetime of service work. Obviously, you have. At the very least, compassion for the flag and the country.
Oh,
right?
yeah, true.
So, I'm going to bring it more modern day. Like, I see what's going on in just parts of society. I'm not going to say it's all society.
Right.
I don't believe it is. I think the narrative is, and then they focus on these small factions of people that are anti-America, anti-police officers.
Okay.
And how does that, all the service work you've done, how does that make you feel as a person and a person who's done these things?
Let me give you an example. There's a lieutenant that I've worked with, and I don't subscribe to this. I don't think they should now that I'm in leadership. But what he said was, and he was actually talking to some civilians, if you will. It was a civilian police academy, and he was going down the rank from officer to sergeant to first sergeant to lieutenant. And what he said was, as a officer, you know what their job is, to protect and serve. Everyone still has that even up the ranks, protect and serve. But a sergeant is going to watch out for the officers that are beneath them, watch out for them, may even know their family. Mm-hmm. First sergeant's going to know the sergeant, know the officer, may even know their family. He said, but when I become a lieutenant, I have to back away from you a little bit, because see, I may have to cast punishment on you. Now, I use that story because I think oftentimes, whether it's the flag, and I think that's where you're going, the flag or anything else, we don't know each other. Mm-hmm. Now, there's something that and the lieutenant was saying is, I don't want to know your family because I might have to put punishment on you. And I subscribe to something totally opposite. I think you do need to know their family so you can prescribe the right type of punishment. I say all that to say this. Oftentimes we don't know each other. So if I don't know you, it's easy for me to cast punishment on you. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's easy for me to demonize you. It's easy for me to treat you like this or that because I'm acting out of ignorance. And sometimes people just want to be ignorant. They don't want to they don't want to get in there and know you, because if I know you, I got to deal you. It's hard for me to hurt you. Mm-hmm. I call you Corey. Corey, it's hard for me to hurt you, Corey, if I know you. It's hard for me to hurt you if I know your family. Oftentimes if a police officer shot, the first thing they said, he had a wife and kids. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Oh, he's a regular person now. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that's a problem oftentimes too. When we start to know each other. I'll use this example also too. There's a course I taught when I first got at the church I'm at now called Becoming a Contagious Christian. And Bill Hybels said this: before I start dousing you with oil and holy oil and tell you about the scriptures of the Bible, why don't we just barbecue first? Why don't we share a meal first?
You break bread.
Yeah, why don't we break a little bread first, and then we can actually talk about the scriptures then, But we do things just the opposite. We don't know each other. I think that's why we can hurt each other the way we do.
That's a very good point. And I think that it is true. Like, people are so quick to cast judgment on others.
Oh, yeah.
And it's on all sides of the fence.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Obviously, but I have noticed, I can't really put a finger on it. I can jump to theories and stuff, but it just seems like there's a thing to tear down, kind of like America, not only just America, but like a lot of our values. I see that in religion as well.
Right.
Actually, I see it more in religion, and then go side and side with American values as well. But like, especially the Christian religion, they tear parts of that.
Okay.
And in America, and they tear the family structure down, which I think is very important.
Right.
So I feel like we got a lot of people running around ignorant,
right,
with no accountability,
right,
respect to nobody. Because
right.
they don't have, if you don't respect the family, you don't respect your country or any type of God,
right, then
it's null and void. You can do whatever the heck you want.
Right.
Right. So like there's a problem with that, and I don't know, what do you say to people like that? Like, you obviously interact with a lot of youth, whether it's through patrol work or through your ministry. Like, what do you say to the youth when you come forward with that?
Work on self. Work on yourself. There's a deacon at our church. I want so bad to say his name. He's a good guy, but I'm not going to say his name. Oh, the deacon. He says, when you point your finger at someone, he said, you're literally got 3 pointing back at you, and this one is about to come back too. He said, deal with yourself. That's what, oftentimes we spend as much time as we do with everybody else, sizing them up, judging them, whatever the case may be. If we just deal with ourselves and can be truthful. Because this old saying said, there's a man that's not so blind, but a man that refuses to see. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So now, if I can look in that mirror and be honest and say, am I right? And start dealing with myself like that, then I'll take less time dealing with you. And better yet, I would actually draw you. You actually say, you know, I want some of the stuff you got. I don't know what it is. You know, we talked about religion. You know, there's no need for me talking about I'm a Baptist preacher if I can't treat you right. But if I start working on myself and leave you alone and just work on myself, sooner or later something I'm doing may catch your eye and you say, okay. But that's what I tell them. Work on yourself. Because oftentimes when you deal with kids, it's what someone said about me. Stop worrying about what they work on yourself. You know, work on your grades. Work on your attitude. You know, work on your obedience to the people that are instructing, that they're over you, if you will.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I've come across a lot of people that I don't know if they just can't get negativity out of them or away from them. And I always tell them, you know, negativity breeds negativity.
Right, it does.
And the same goes with, you know, positive energy will breed positive outcomes.
Right.
You know, I myself for a long time was very negative.
I hear what you're saying.
And life was very negative.
I hear what you're saying.
So, you know, I've been able to make that change and still working on it, like you said.
Right.
But talking to people nowadays, and I want to say that for the most part, the youth is even more blind to these narratives and stuff that I feel are false than it even was in my younger years. You know, yeah, we didn't trust cops growing up as kids. Most people, a lot of people don't. Like, I still to this day, when one pulls up behind me, I'm like, oh man, are my lights right? Like, you know, you get worried.
Right.
And it's like, I haven't done anything wrong, but I still have that feeling.
Right.
But nowadays, like, you watch the TV and it's like, if a cop gets behind you, especially if you're a black male,
right,
you're going to be murdered.
Right.
And that's because that's what they look for. And there's so many different narratives that I see on TV, in the papers, the radio, that it's like, if everyone believed all these narratives, we might as well just, you know, be walking around with Lucifer at all time, because that's really where we would be if everything was true about these narratives, right?
Right.
But obviously it's not. You know, we're having a conversation.
Right.
People, you look at the real, go out on the street, go to the strip mall, whatever.
Right.
That's not what you're seeing. These narratives can't be true. So, like, the people that are believing these, it's like, even if you say, hey man, you need accountability, this and that.
Right.
They're still like, no, there's still this. I'm being oppressed here. And then it's like there's victimization all over the place. And it's like, trying to pull that out, I was like, no, you're the only one holding it back.
Right.
You know, at least that's the way I feel. And from, you know, logic and reasoning, that is the thing. It's like, yeah, you haven't jumped yet. You're letting this narrative break you. You know what I mean?
No, I know what you're saying. Well, this is the thing. I go back to that thing about let's barbecue. Mm-hmm. Let's sit down. Let's learn about each other. You know?
Yeah.
You know, there's so many things about me. I'm not a police officer, you know, and you've heard this say it, everyone, and you've heard people say it over and over again. Police officer is not what I am, it's what I do.
Yeah.
You know, if I was just a police officer, it'd be very, very shallow, you know what I mean? And I think it goes back to, okay, put someone's shoe on and see what it feels like, you know? I can deal on both sides. Black guy, you know, dealing with police, you know. The problem, and I think this is where we're going, what's going on with police these days is, and I can be honest with you, we've lost our public trust. You cannot do your job without the public.
Well, yeah, they got to give you the information.
I'm talking about let's narrow it down from just a traffic stop. Okay, mm-hmm. What keeps a person from killing a police officer? You know what I mean? These days, what keeps it has to be something that you were taught. Police have to be inherently good, or something in your mind that says, "Listen, they're out there to do a job." Now, are there police officers messed up? Oh yeah,
Oh, sure.
Oh, we've messed up our public trust. And the thing about it is, until a police officer polices a police officer, we're not going to get any better. Until I say, if we're working a beat and I see you doing something wrong or you see me doing something wrong, even if it's just being insolent, rude to someone, if you don't check me on it, we're not going to get any better.
Have you ever had any instances like that? Like you've seen another...
Oh, yeah, because the thing about it, you're human, man. You know, we think these guys are out here, man. Every day I get up, if I cut this arm, I'm going to bleed. I get sick, you know? Mm-hmm. So sometimes you got to have that, but we used to call it coffee break. You know what I mean? You getting into it. They getting your goat. Corey, you need, or phone call. Corey, you got a phone call. And then you know right away, okay, you know what I'm into. I'm too far into this thing. And until we do that, because...
So you'll be on the scene,
okay,
and maybe they're both mouthing off.
Right, right.
So you'll come up and be like, hey.
Right, you got to.
And then you step in and handle the rest?
You got to, you know, and that's how we're taught. And a lot of, you know, what's not taught oftentimes is we see the picture, you know, and I don't want to speak, I'm not speaking from both sides of my neck or nothing. And I don't stand in the middle when it comes to it. I try to stand on what's right. Okay? I've done police work now, not half my life, I'm an older fella, but good little portion of my life I've done police work. That's what I've done. That's how I feed my family, okay? Like I said, we have messed up. And we've messed up bad. Because like I said, I go right back to the public trust. There's nothing else. We can say training all we want, but if people don't believe you, they don't believe you're going to go. You think about it. Oh, yeah, sure, you're going to go train them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sure, it was done that way. You know?
Okay,
so we got to have a conversation. We got to sit people down and talk. And tell them, hey, this is what's going on.
Well, that's one of the things I find ironic, because I've actually talked to some people, and I'm like, there's a right way to fix things in a wrong way.
Right.
I don't believe in rioting and tearing crap apart. You know, that doesn't solve anything.
Right.
And it more so proves the other side right. Like, yeah, well, you know, you were acting like this. So, you know, if you disagree with a law, you go and talk to the people that do the legislation and be like, hey, we need to change this. You know, I think a lot of people are probably incarcerated too long over marijuana or something like that. When you can, there's people that get more time for marijuana than pedophilia.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
To me, that's a big issue. Like,
right.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Right.
Because the latter is way worse. But there's a right and wrong way, you know. Arguing with a cop during a traffic stop is not going to make the situation any better.
Right, that's true.
Fight that in court. But, you know, the whole, well, it's not fair, or we don't have a just system. And it's like, well, okay, wouldn't you rather have your neighborhood police you? Like, the people from your neighborhood.
Right.
Police you then. If you don't like the police that are coming in, then why don't you have people sign up for police officers? And then it would be the people you would trust, right? And then it's like, no, if they do that, then you're no longer part of the neighborhood.
Exactly.
And it's like, well, hold on, you can't be a sellout.
Right.
Everybody should want the neighborhood to be good and functional.
Right.
Like, how do you change that type of narrative?
I think it's back to, like you said, with the family. Growing up, if I cut up and got in trouble, police officer didn't scare me. My mom and dad did.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
My mom just had a look in her eyes.
And now with the breakdown of that, but I don't want us to lose the focus, though. If I don't trust you, I'm going to question you. And as a police officer, even now, I haven't been on the street in a while, but the traffic stop, along with dealing with domestics, are one of the most dangerous portion of police work. Because every time you walk up to that car, you don't know what's in it.
True. Or knock on that door.
Right. You walk up. So now you got younger and younger police officers. You know, you got police officers now close to the age of my son, you know, my oldest son. And they're walking up, you know what I mean? They have no life experience. They got what they have in the academy. And the academy's great, but it's nothing like going live, man. It's nothing like going live.
I think that would probably be anything.
Right. Oh, it is. It is, but I think police work, and not to take it away from any other job, because there's so many other jobs that are good professions and about service, but police work, you go there and you may not come back.
Well, of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
well,
now
just studying, it doesn't matter what you study.
Right.
When you have to ask, I've had people that went to college for management, and then when they come to be your manager, it's like, you have no idea how people actually work.
Oh, yeah.
This isn't textbook, buddy.
That's right.
But no, I agree with what you're saying that, you know, with a cop, there's danger involved in that.
Right. And on top of it, they don't trust you.
Yeah.
You know, so now they're arguing with you, and you're thinking about officer safety. They're arguing with you, you're thinking about officer safety, and they're doing stuff because they're just regular folks. Would you think that they may be going for a gun? They're not going for a gun. they're going for it. You don't know. And that's what's rough about police work. But if we have that conversation again, and we keep trying to have the conversation, it's not going to be fixed in a day. It may take 5 or 10 years. I don't know if it ever be fixed. But I can do what I can do within my space. I can control my space and the people that I come in contact with. And the more good relationships I have and experiences and incidents with folks, then that'll help things out.
Okay. Well, that leads me to another. Have you ever had to even brandish your weapon?
Oh, you mean?
In work?
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. In fact, my mentality was always pull it out fast, put it away slow. Now, I'm saying that because I've worked on different drug units. I've worked on different, and my mentality is I'm always going to go home. I make no apologies for nothing. Now, I don't say I'm going to abuse anyone out there, but it's a dangerous job. And once you forget it, they're bringing your wife a crisp flag. And I don't want that for my wife. You know what I mean? Now, with that said, and I made that come out a little rough, but
no, I agree with you.
But the mentality is it's a dangerous job. Now, I'm not saying I'm just pointing guns at folks, but I'm ready. I'm ready to go. You got to be. It's just a dangerous job.
Well, I was reading something. It was after one of the TV hyped shootings, and Kaepernick's kneeling for all that stuff, and I know with the Kaepernick situation, the police department's like, come down and see how we handle stuff, and you get to see at least a taste of it,
right?
And there was another report where, how quick it's this quick that either you're dead or you've shot somebody unfairly,
right? And
I can't remember. It was a TV person, or no, it was somebody for the I think one of the factions of the Black Lives Matter.
Okay.
Went with the people, and they gave him 3 different scenarios, and twice he shot somebody,
right,
unlawfully or whatever,
right.
And the other time he would have got murdered because he was
right.
too nice.
Oh yeah,
and it's like people forget that's how quick. I would think. I mean, I haven't been in the situation, but it would be at any moment it could pop off.
Oh yeah.
And are you always going to make the right decision? Probably not.
Well, you think about it. We're sitting here. Let's say we're police officers. We said, we're going to get something to eat. Just sitting there. I don't know where we're at. We're just going to get something to eat. I'll give you a real life scenario. I came from church preaching. I'm on the bike team, and we go inside the mall, local mall. Everybody's in there. We're sitting there, and a lady comes up to me. Hey, Brother Harris, it was the Lord really blessed us. I said, praise the Lord. We were talking, and then you see this guy walk in, and I'm talking to her, but I could see this guy. I'm like, He kicks a wet floor sign up in the air, and his dad sitting there with his little beautiful babies that 4, 5, 6 or whatever, beautiful little girls, and the wet floor sign hits and throws all that trash and all the food on it. So now that's about to have a fight. Just that quick, things can go off. I've been there where I'm doing CPR on a person, and then I'm running because there's a shooting in progress. It goes just like that. That's the part that I think the public has to do. They have to take a step into the shoe of the police officer. Mm-hmm. We're asking just regular guys. An academy's not that long, man. Maybe half a year, 6 months, maybe. That's not that long for someone to change. If you're prejudiced, you're going to be prejudiced when you come out. If you don't like white folks, you ain't going to like white folks. If you don't like black folks, you're not going to like black folks when you come out.
Yeah.
If you was calling the person the N-word, you're going to call them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's there. So what you have to do is, like I said before, we got to do this again. We got to sit down and we got to tell some. Most times people don't realize that most police officers, and I'm going to tell it. Yeah, when I first got in police work, I was having all types of dreams and stuff, man. You're jacked up. You go through this. This is what you go through. You go through your, at work you're here. At home, boom, you're down. And if you don't have something to plateau you off, it can actually do something to you. A lot of times people don't realize what the guys are going through.
Yeah. I guess that scenario kind of reminded me of what they talk about a lot of, the football players. When they're on the field, they're crushing bodies together.
Right.
And then they expect them to be perfect gentlemen.
Right.
And it's like, no, I'm living this.
It's a violent thing. It's a violent thing. If I don't get my way in the field, what I do, I tackle you. Yeah. So if something's going on, I tackle you, but that's not the right thing to do,
Yeah.
But the only thing when it comes to the football player, and I know we're not slicing hairs and nothing about this, but when he tackles someone off field, and then everyone goes crazy, his next he's all he has to do is make a touchdown, and then everyone forgets about it.
Oh yeah.
But when that police officer makes a mistake, oftentimes, because I don't think I've dealt with a lot of police officers, cross-jurisdictional, and dealt with different police officers. I haven't ran into a lot of police officers that I just thought they were just killers. I mean, they got up today to kill someone.
Yeah.
I
can't.
No,
see
it's
that.
not there. It's not there. Now,
I'm sure there's ones that are just asinine and probably hate people.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Or maybe they were picked on at school. I don't really know.
You got the ones that they get fearful, But sometimes that helps you get home at night too,
Oh, fear can be a life
saver. Yeah. And like I said before, we're working with the public now that we've lost the public trust, and you still got the guys out there making bad decisions, bad guys like we call them. They're still out there now.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes they hide behind the thing of, okay, that dirty cop or that cop this, or he did it because I'm black, or he did it because I'm white, or whatever the case may be. And it may not be that, but because we lost the public trust. It's hard to do police work when you lose the public trust.
One of the thing with the problem with the public trust, and it's just something I don't understand, is when I was younger and I was negative and stuff, yeah, I got arrested for drinking and driving and been in some fist fights.
Oh yeah.
And then maybe it's an overnight stay or whatever. But at the end of the day, I knew I'd messed up.
Right.
I knew I was wrong.
Right.
And my mom knew I was wrong.
Right.
My dad knew I was wrong, and the people I was with knew I was wrong.
Right.
So I didn't feel like the victim.
I hear what you're saying.
Where nowadays, like, people commit crimes and they make excuse for it, and even their parents or their neighborhoods will make excuses for it.
Right.
And I don't understand. It's like, no, if your child is messing up, yes, you're still gonna love them. But I like, if my child was selling crack,
right,
I would be like, you're gonna go do your time.
Right.
You messed up.
Right.
And unfortunately, yes, people do make mistakes, and I believe in second chances. But if you don't hold them accountable for their first mistake,
right,
they're not going to learn from it.
But truly, especially when you start talking about young people, I'm big on that right there. There's been times in my life that if I'd have got something, you know what I mean, it'll slow down that path.
Yeah.
And I think we'll be talking from here to eternity about why people, like I said before, there's never a man that's blind than him that refuses to see. We have a lot of people that, for whatever reason, and they're not helping. You're not helping your son or your daughter if they're doing something wrong and you keep backing it up. Because sooner or later, especially when they turn 18, sometimes 17, sometimes 16 in our justice system, they do the wrong thing, ain't nothing the parent's going to be able to do.
Mm-hmm.
It comes back to that family again, where you got to have those rules, son, daughter, whatever. You can't do that. You cannot operate like that. Now I'm going to back you up for the stuff that's being done wrong to you, but I got to call you out on it. You have to, and that's love. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's the love that we talked about.
Oh, I had a question. I forgot what I was going to say. You got me good on that one. So, anyways, with that, okay, I remember what it was. So, in your line of work, and you're seeing all this in your youth, and with everything you try to do, I'm sure you've come across a lot of young people that's made mistakes, horrible mistakes, probably. Like, how does that affect you? Does it affect you in your psyche at all? Like, if you see, I don't know if you have, but a 12-year-old murdered somebody, it's for absolute, they've just thrown their life away. You know what I mean?
Right.
And knowing that you want to help people, when you see that type of stuff, I don't know, to me, I think that would be crushing.
Well, it doesn't crush me as much as, because I try not to take, from the time I drive, whether it's from church home from home to church, from home to when I put my gear on, you know. Then from when I take my gear off to home, those are my races. You can't keep all that stuff in. I tell you, it wasn't first time I heard about a child murdering someone, but I think the thing that screams in my mind the most, and this young man still never got himself together, was this young man, his grandfather was taking care of him, loved him. I mean, kiss him on the face, kiss him, love him. 15-year-old kid. And at the time I was investigating robberies. Now you have murders, you have sex crimes, and you have robberies. So robbery is real close to the tip of the spear. And you commit a robbery, they keep you, you know. Well, this kid kept committing robberies. And the judge sent him away for a long time. But the thing that I remember, you know, that I play over in my head sometimes, it doesn't bother me, I just remember it, was that grandfather yelling to the judge, "Can I hug him one more time?" And the judge said, "You should have did that before. Take him away."
Wow.
You know? And I think, what do we learn from it though? We gotta put the work in on the front end. One of my uncles says it this way when it's pertaining to children. He says, "Pay me now or pay me later." He told me about it was a gas station. It was the gas station that was their logo when it comes to your car. You know, you gotta pay me now or you're gonna pay me later. Mm-hmm. You know, you think about it, that young boy, where did he fall off track at, you know? Because sometimes as parents, I know myself, we get so busy that we forget, you know, you're going to a recital or you may be going to juvenile hall. Which one you want to go to? You know, you go to the school or you're going to go to jail. Which one you want to go to? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You see them in school and take time to go on a field trip, or you may have to take time to get bail money from them. But you're going to pay. You know what I mean? You know, you're going to invest something. You got to invest on the front end. You got to, until they get up on their own. You know, you got to be there for them.
And even sometimes then.
Yeah. Even, you know, it takes, you know, because you move into, okay, now I'm telling you what to do, then you move into advisory role a little later on. You know, when they come to you, hey, Dad, what should I do? You know? Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, to change the subjects a little bit.
Okay.
Because I've been beating you pretty hard on police work. So with religion, and it's kind of the same topic, you know, in society and stuff. Do you have any thought process of why? Because to me, it seems like religion has taken a big hit. It's very similar to like the police force,
right?
And it's like it's almost negative, like. Even when I was growing up, you know, if you went to church, you were kind of a square.
Right.
You know what I mean? It wasn't the cool thing. Now, when my mom went to school, everybody was going to church.
Right.
And it was kind of a cool thing to do. That's where you met other kids. And it was accepting. And it's like, as we get further along, like, you can't have any type of church. Like, if you say something at school or work now, it's like, whoa, that's a no-go.
Right.
You know, like... What is your thought process on the push of that, and why is it that way? Because
I think religion is a platform for folks. You know what I mean? It's like a badge, but they're not really trying to live it. You know, there was a talk show host, and I rarely call. I don't call them talk show hosts, but it was an African American station, and it's when a lot of the stuff had hit the peak about young black men and everything, and how the conversation went was the young black boy told his mother, he was dark skinned, told his mother, "I no longer want to be black anymore because police hate black people. So call on in and tell him how should she encourage his son." So one called him and said he's a Nubian prince, he's a Nubian prince and all the different things. So I called up. And I just kind of wanted to call him on the carpet. I said, "This is a Christian show, right?" He said, "Yes." I said, "You tell him that, you know, for the most part, police are not going to give him a hard time. But can I be real with you?" "Yes, brother, be real," they said. I said, "Before I'm black, I should be a Christian first. And before a person's white, they should be a Christian first. But when we flip it, and now my blackness decides how I'm going to treat you, you see, that's where we have a problem. And that goes across everything. If I'm a police officer my Christian values should work within that love and treating people the way I want to be treated. If I'm a politician, but now the problem is we have a lot of politicians, I believe, that have that platform because the Christianity or the religion may get you in the door. But now I'm not going to use that. Everybody's a Christian now, man. But if you want to ask them, does it actually control your decision making?
No, it doesn't.
You just answered the question. No, it doesn't. And that's the problem. That's why people don't like religion. You know, when I first started ministry, I was 23, 24 years old. We could go into any hospital. All we got to do is say that we're clergy. Walk right in. Now you may have to show your badge because they don't trust clergy just as much as they don't trust police officers. It's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah.
You would think that they would trust them, but they don't. It's the same thing because we're wearing it as a badge, but it never got to our hearts. It's not determined our decision making. I need to be able to call. No, someone asked me a question about Donald Trump. What do I feel about it? I said, this last election, whether it's Hillary or Donald, whoever you pick, whoever ended up in the White House, as long as you could call something wrong that he's doing. If you could call it wrong, there's nothing wrong. You know what I mean? We're never going to have someone that's in there perfect. President Obama wasn't perfect. Donald Trump's not perfect. But as long as my Christianity can rule and I can say, okay, that's wrong. But when I can't do that, then I look like a hypocrite and I look like I can't be trusted.
There's a lot of that going on.
You see what I'm saying?
And the politics.
And then when I holler out, I'm a Christian, then they say, I can't trust religion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can't, and not so much religion. Yeah, I can't trust religion. You know what I mean?
Well, I've noticed that, I can take that in a couple different areas, but I've noticed that there's a big pickup on like atheism and spirituality, but not religion.
Right.
And I've talked to a lot of people, and I'm like, what's your problem with it? And it's corrupt.
Right,
people are fake. They look down upon you if they feel they're religious. And I was like, well, they're not really religious.
That's right.
And a lot of the stuff you're looking at, like, I think when you take God out of things, no matter who you think your God is, I'm not going to pick and choose, at different religions. But as long as when you take God out of the equation, the government becomes your ruler.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, so therefore, and I have a video about this. Look at their corruption. Look at all the evil that goes on in that type of stuff.
Right.
I was like, you're better off trusting a God somewhere.
Right.
But,
if you want to tear up anything, put a man in it.
Oh, yes.
If you want to tear up anything, put a man. When I first became, we're jumping back and forth, but this is a good one. When I first became a police officer and I stood up, you put your hand up. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth? So help you God. Mm-hmm. Hands on the Bible. Now, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, under penalty of law? So now it's...
We're going to lock you up.
It tells the police officer, do I feel he was wrong? What penalty? Only if you catch me in a lie now?
Yeah.
So at least at the time I had, I'm not going to do it because God says it's not doing it right, if I believe in that. But now it's just under penalty of law. That's where we've come. They've taken down those things. We're nowhere close to where we used to be. Now, I'm biased now. I'm a gospel preacher. I preach Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. But we're so far away from, we're in a post-Christian era now. We're in a post-Christian era. There's more Muslim or whatever the case may be. I'm not going against these guys. I love all of them. I do. But right now, we're literally telling man, listen, you are your God. You make your own rules.
Yeah.
That's where we're at. It's right if it's right to you. You know what I mean? If it's right, do your thing. You know what I mean?
Well, man plays God every day.
Yeah.
We're changing sexes and
all types of stuff.
Yeah.
All types of stuff. And you cannot say nothing to me about it. You better not say nothing to me about it, or you hate me and you're judging me.
Exactly.
And that's the problem. Let's be truthful.
But if you don't agree with it, you should go to
That's
jail.
right. Like, if you don't agree with me, what type of God is that?
The arrow only points one way with that.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I could go on for hours and stuff, but you have anything else you want to add? Any stories or anything?
No, there's so many different stories, man. I've been blessed to do a lot of stuff. Even from like my background now as a pastor. You know, one of these days, if God says so, He allowed me to retire, I'm going to write a book called Conflict of Interest. Because someone asks me all the time, how can you go from the pulpit to locking someone up? I don't know how many times I've preached a sermon, I get a call, especially when at the church I'm at. You know, I got a call. Hey, Raleigh. Hey, Lee. I need you to come right now. We got a search warrant. We're waiting on you. We're about to kick this door in. You know, a lot of times people say, well, how can you do that? Can you be a police officer and can you be a Christian? I think so. I think that where the conflict's at is sometimes you're in a situation where you have to hold people responsible for what decisions they're making. You're not doing anything bad to you. You're holding them responsible. Now, how you do it is up to you.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, if you could give my audience one message, what would it be? We'll end it like that.
Okay. Short and sweet. Love one another. And work on yourself. Love one another and work on yourself. If we would do that, and we would, then we would, I know that we would stop a lot of the problems that we're having if we would just work on ourselves and learn how to love one another. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Start listening to Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror.
Ah.
All right. Once again, like, subscribe, leave a comment. Peace.